Huge power stations were built in the most desolate areas. Industrial towns were linked to each other by an impressive railway network. Stalin turned the Red Army into the world's most powerful army. The Soviet war machine was born. Weapons factories turned out cutting-edge tanks. Aeronautics engineering produced jewels of high technology. Most Russians not only put up with Stalin's dictatorship, but supported it. The regime was based on total submission. Only his will counted, and nobody could stand in its way, not even the Orthodox Church. Stalin ordered that the religious icons be destroyed. He was the father of Russia. His portrait had to be in every home. In the name of the new faith, Stalin had the churches demolished. He would not tolerate any god other than himself. Large-scale farming, planned following the most modern techniques, could not prosper unless it was supported by an industry just as advanced. Stalin launched his campaign for rapid industrialization, appealing to patriotism. The first 5-year plan was passed in 1928. Thousands of young people worked in the factories, dreaming of the future wealth of the socialist fatherland. The abolition of the same wages for everyone, which was one of the tenets of early Bolshevikism, triggered rivalry and disastrous attempts of emulation in the vain hope of increasing personal gain. The annual growth rates were incredible. They went as high as 20%. The quantities of coal, iron, gold, steel, cast iron and oil to be produced multiplied. Licenses, machinery and plants were bought. Western specialists were enlisted. Moscow paid on time and in strong currency, which it obtained thanks to its export of raw materials. At the beginning of the 1930s, Russia was an underdeveloped agricultural country. Stalin ordered that farming be collectivized at all costs. With strokes of the pen, he cut the subsistence of 4/5 of the population. Owing to the desperate opposition of the prosperous farmers, the kulaks, the collectivization decree led to a downright civil war in rural areas. A violent wave of requisitions rapidly increased. The secret police confiscated all of the stocks. Propaganda denounced the well-to-do landowners as being enemies of the people who had to be wiped out as a social class. Stalin's ascent reached its peak. At the age of 50, he was master of 1/6 of the planet and the architect of a new world. The violent cult of his figure was glorified by a large quantity of statues, busts, portraits, films and posters. And Stalin was its high priest. A A new elite was becoming established on the other face of the Soviet Union. It was the time for deceiving with gifts, a recurring ritual that demonstrated one's devotion. Stalin had performed the miracle. A miner, Alexei Stakhanov, had topped the daily coal production standard a good 45 and rationalizing production. Electric power reached the entire country. The Soviet Union had become an industrial power. Hunger and famines had been defeated. In that same year, the special tribunals came into being. The purges and executions started. It was the author Alexander Solzhenitsyn who made the word Gulag universal as a synonym of Soviet concentration camps. The term Gulag means general management of the concentration camps. Whoever did not produce was shot as a saboteur of horror. But for the Soviets, the concentration camp was a re-education institute. When released, the lucky one who survived that nightmare had to become a completely indoctrinated Soviet citizen, ready to work and shout, "Long live Stalin!"